Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana community interview here on the Inkwell Lounge. I'm your host Chris, aka Questing for Lore, and in today's interview, I'm joined by two huge fans of the limited formats in Lorcana. Heath, aka Be Our Guest, and Kole, better known online as Quest with Kole. We talked about the DLC in Richmond that we all were able to attend. We shared some helpful things to know when playing either draft or sealed. And we look forward to Winterspell and speculated on what it meant to be more limited friendly. Sound like fun? Let's get to it. Well, hey Kole, hey Heath, how are y'all doing?
Great.
Hey.
It was really great to see both of y'all at the DLC this past weekend. It's been a little bit, but yeah, it was really cool. And Heath, we got to play some draft together and the on demand
I caused
stuff.
him to play the draft.
I know. I was like, I'm just gonna go play some Pack Rush, and then Heath was like, No, come here.
I believe the expression was something like, eh?
Yeah, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Kole, you did a whole bunch of draft stuff. Did you do any sealed, or was it just draft? Or
I did a super sealed on Friday. Yep. Did a sealed ink sprint deck chaos thing. I beat you in some Pack Rush. So.
Yes, you did. Yes, I think that was kind of the MO of the weekend. Most people beat me in Pack Rush because most of the time my pulls were terrible until they weren't, and then they were amazing, and then they were terrible again. So,
that's right. My pulls weren't much better all weekend. I think the only legendary I pulled was a Return of Hercules foil. That's it.
I thought there was going to be more.
Yeah. No. In my
even in super sealed, you opened 16 packs.
I opened, and that was in super sealed. That was the one legendary. I think I pulled 2 Demonas that weekend, but it wasn't a part of any sealed pool. It was They were just
out of your events, your pulls would.
I pulled a Demona for me to have for my collection that I'm not using in anything.
That's rough.
Well, let's go ahead and get started with having y'all introduce yourselves a little bit. I know both of y'all have been on the on the show before, but so we won't get into the details of it. But if you want to just kind of give a high level summary of who you are and what you do and all that kind of good stuff.
Heath, you go first.
Oh no, after you, sir.
Okay, I'll go first. Hi everyone, I'm Quest with Kole, pretty much on all social media. I do weekly videos on Tuesdays called Coffee with Kole on YouTube. It drops every Tuesday at 4 a.m. for you early risers who like to start their day with some Lorcana or in a different time zone, But I pretty much make content across all of the social medias.
Awesome. My name's Heath. Be Our Guest Lorcana. I am, I guess you could say, a limited specialist. That is my obsession anyways. So I am mostly on YouTube under Be Our Guest Lorcana. Don't search up Be Our Guest. If you do, you will get nothing but songs. Not that isn't a good time, but it won't get you much to do about limited. And on Twitter, BOG Lorcana, because the title would be too long otherwise. Talking all about limited, focusing on draft is definitely my passion, but talking about sealed as well as draft in there.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, like we said, all three of us were at the DLC this past weekend in Richmond. So I'd love to get y'all's impressions of the event. I know each of y'all have been to DLCs before, right? Kole, this was your second one? Yeah.
This was my second, number 2. First one was Milwaukee. So honestly, my first year of challenges being this season of challenges. A lot of great little changes from Milwaukee to Richmond, I noticed. Absolutely. I talked a little bit on my series about them, but biggest ones were having that more stuff to take photos with, the Illuminary backing that we did not have in Milwaukee. Added to they gave us a collection quest, which was pretty awesome. They kind of beefed up the surrounding areas, being there was a separate on-demand event space, and the collection quest next to that area, there was a Young Illumineers area that had some more puzzles and coloring books and things like that, which is pretty cool to see. Mm-hmm. I think we can keep going. Give us a content creator area. I think you were talking about, Chris, literally be playing with your favorite content creators, or trade meetups on Thursday night after check-in, so people can bring trade binders and trade stickers, that kind of stuff. So obviously a lot of great changes, but I think that there's still some ways to go there.
Yep. Now, if they could just make the on-demand room a little closer next time.
I think they will. I think that was the nature of this venue and how it was booked up. We've already established that this DLC season was a little impromptu. But yes, we had to walk like 5 minutes, like hustling to get from the on-demand area to the rest. For myself, I've
through
been
the cheerleaders.
Yep.
Yes,
through the
they had a
cheerleaders.
cheerleading convention, which was really funny to see, like young children doing serious stuff and then adults doing Disney card games. The kind of dynamic there was interesting. So you asked about DLCs. I've been to, I guess you could say 3.5, which is to say I've been to Toronto, Seattle, and now Richmond, but I also went to Continentals to try the Last Chance qualifiers last January, which was amazing. So yeah, been to quite a few now, and definitely this was my favorite from like the drafting standpoint, but I still think Anaheim was my favorite in terms of diversity of events. Anaheim had a ton of different events and multiplayer support. They had 2v2 sealed, which was amazing. Lots of things. They didn't have the super sealed at that time because they introduced that format later at Worlds, but I still say Anaheim was like the pinnacle in terms of side event diversity.
Okay. All right. Maybe we'll see some of that stuff come back in Indy. We'll see.
Or at least at Continentals this season.
I want to see
true.
Twin-Headed Giant from Magic, the 2-player format. I don't know if you ever know, like 30 lore you'd be going to.
Well, they had it for Constructed in a sense. They had a Two-Headed Giant. So the 2v2 in here, I heard, I didn't play it, but it was Constructed. But basically, you both had to get to 20 in the same game. One player 20, you didn't win. Both had to get to 20, but you're playing together. You're playing 4 persons simultaneously. So yeah, everyone's strategy is
more of it.
Let one player get to 20. Who cares? But just pick on one player and make sure they never get to 20. That seemed to be the strategy of the day.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
It's like, you're not playing today. You're fine. You're not playing today.
Well, that's the joy of multiplayer Lorcana, right? You get to target that one person, and then and then they get their revenge later on, which
you go.
Always seems to be the way. So. Well, cool. Well, so what? Obviously, we're here to talk about limited and sealed and all that kind of good stuff. So I assume that was a lot of what y'all participated in for this time. Were either of y'all in the main event though?
I was.
Okay. How did your run go?
It was fine. I mean, honestly, I self-sabotage a lot, which is to say I picked up a new deck the Friday, like a week before Friday, played in 1 set champs, and then played a few games on the plane with my friend flying to Richmond, and that was the extent of it. So I picked up dogs. The reason I love limited is because I get really bored with constructed, playing the same game again and again. Look at Fungus's post. Oh my gosh, the winner of DLC Richmond. He posted on Twitter about just the hours and hours and thousands of games that he played. I'm like, I could not play the same deck for 100 games, let alone 1,000. So this is my problem. So I didn't practice. I played in 1 set champs. I won that set champs, which was great. It was a 26-player event. And I started at 3-1, which was great. But then all I was thinking of is I kind of want this. I got my 3 wins. I kind of want this to be over so I can go draft more. And so I think that impacted things a bit. So I then, scrubbed out after that. So finished at 3-3 drop. But I got my 3 wins, got my Mulan, and went back to drafting.
As I would expect. Yep. Honestly.
I should take it more seriously. I just have difficulty doing it.
Honestly, getting the Mulan is not something to scoff at.
Right? I'm really proud of starting at the 3-1. But, I could tell that my lack of practice, and there was games where I'm like, I feel like if I'd practiced, I would know, specifically with Chromacon. My biggest challenge was like, what should I be bouncing? Their stuff, my stuff, which stuff, right? I think that was the biggest element that I'm like, I could tell if I'd practiced more, I would have more confidence about what I should be bouncing here. And I did not.
Fair.
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky one. I played in the core constructed. I played a Amethyst Emerald deck with the Emerald Chromacon in it. And, there's definitely some cards you don't want to bounce just because, it's going to come back and haunt you eventually. So,
yeah, when there's 2 cards under that Cheshire Cat, I don't really want to be bouncing it all that much.
Yeah, the whispers and stuff. Yeah.
2 Hades out. I don't really want to bounce that Hades again because you're just going to replay it on my thing again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the Headless Horseman that banishes, what is it, a 2 cost or something? Yeah. I made that mistake once in a set champs, and I was like, nope, not doing that again.
So no, it was great though, and it was great just being around players, being passionate about it, like talking to guys. I had one in, I think, the 5th round where I was trying to like hype the guy up because he was at 4-1, and I'm like, because he was having trouble focusing. Like I could tell during the match, he was like making mistakes that he shouldn't be and all that and having trouble focusing. Like, dude, you got to focus up. You're at 4-1. You can do this. Let's go. And his friend was next to him. I'm like, I wish everybody was this nice. I'm like, it's just a game, yo. Like, let's just have fun.
Yeah,
they're cards. Yeah.
I mean, seriously. Yeah. No, and there are the people that are like, they're like super locked in and they're there to win it, But it's so great that there are so many people that, like a lot of the people I played against, we were just talking. We were just having conversations and hanging out. And we were there because we love the game. We're not there because we're like, hardcore, sweaty, really trying to win.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that
pretty sweaty in my Mickey. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, the cosplay was nice. Yeah. The Detective Mickey.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Did you have to re-hot glue anything during the?
No, I held it pretty well. The little hinge arm, that extended the magnifying glass popped off at one point. But shout out to Aladdin's Castle, others half, Belle's Castle. Had like a bag ready to go with some glue and like help me fix it literally right before the graph. Glue drying on my head. Huge shout out there to
That's very kind.
Thank you for that. But
nice.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
It held up pretty well. So.
Did you see the? I think it was on the Saturday. Yeah, the Hades roaming around.
Mm-hmm.
I did. Cool. I took some photos with Thomas. Thomas is one of the big cosplayers in the space. He did. I saw on Sunday did the Stitch Rockstar. I was so mad I wasn't there to get photos with them. Oh, it looked so good. The giant character with the leather jacket and the guitar. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Awesome.
I can't imagine how much luggage he had to bring. I don't know if he was local or not.
I think he rolls deep with a crew. Like he has like a person for his bags.
He's got an entourage.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It might be like the +1, but who knows?
I got to give props to, oh my goodness. Oh, I'm blanking. I'm sorry. I follow you on Twitter and I follow you all the time and I talk to you and I'm just my mind sometimes. One of the casters from the EU team, she came as Rapunzel. Please help me.
Oh, Kim.
Kawa's better half. Kim.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
She had 3 different outfits, and I saw her at the airport. She had a carry-on bag. I'm like, that is really impressive.
How?
Hers were like all that kind of like princessy kind of inspired, I think, or like
she did. I think Aurora and 2 Rapunzels, if I recall correctly.
Pretty fun, pretty cool.
Yeah, so great outfits and just really impressive packing skills.
Yeah, I know, right? I felt like, I was like, I've got my medium-sized suitcase, because I've got all my gear and everything in it as well, not just, clothes. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for having to check a bag. I was like, but there's no other way, at least not with all the stuff I brought. So
I was lucky to be on the train that I could like stuff in my bag where it wasn't like have to be like handled by people like throwing it into like an airplane. So like I kind of had it how I wanted it. It still like got a little bit damaged in transit. I had like hot glue stuff the night before myself in my hotel room, but like it traveled pretty well. So I will try to keep that in mind if I do another cosplay ever. Like it has to be like packable. Like that's something I hadn't thought about.
All right. So if y'all had one thing that you wanted to see at the DLC in Indy, what would it be?
Only one.
Only one. I gotta lock it down. Otherwise, we'd be talking for another 45 minutes about it.
I think the fans would maybe hate if I didn't say cosplay contest. Like, and like not just for like sake of prizes, but like something where it's like it feels like it's another part of a celebration of the art, like an extension of like you're getting these artist signatures, you're getting these, you know what I mean? It's celebrated in the same way. It's not just like you get $500 and you get a box of Lorcana. Yeah, maybe there is a cool, you know, enchanted book prizing that you get, but maybe it, you know, it's just more another celebration of all of that throughout the whole weekend, you know.
That'd be awesome. On a stage, you know, get them up there.
I mean, Tate already is doing the photos and taking those cool videos for the socials. Shout out.
Oh, it's great for socials too, right? In terms of like them being able to show it to the people. Like
marketing,
it looks a lot better than two people sitting across from each other at a table playing the game, you know?
Yep.
Exactly.
Way more interesting. Yep.
Right. If I could see one thing, so I want to hesitate to not say the selfish thing. Can I say two just to say the selfish thing?
Do it. You can say two. It's fine.
Okay. So the selfish thing would be a higher stakes draft event. Like, or a limited event. I'll give them sealed in the short term. I'd like to see draft in the long term.
A main event for limited. A main event for limited.
Even if it's not main event yet, like let's work our way there. But like they've got their Friday and the Sunday event, right? They've got their big, and I think there's one on the Saturday as well. They've got their high stakes constructed events. I would like to see a higher stakes, you know, larger entry and bigger prizing, higher stakes limited event. That's my selfish thing. But I mean, I don't know that that's necessarily for everyone. Right, so a thing for everyone. I'm actually going to steal Kole's idea a bit in terms of you'd mentioned on Twitter having the like trade area, whether it's trade or whatever, just more engagement, right? Something to get people together more, right? We're already doing it naturally, but to kind of give people an avenue, and quite frankly, for the people that have a bit of anxiety around going up to others, just an excuse somewhere, whether it's a trade section, whether it's like you mentioned, Kole, like a content creator, interactions, whatever the case may be, just something that is baked into the DLC that drives us connecting more. I'd love to see that.
Bouncing off that, thinking of, I don't know if you guys saw, I took a 7-second video of Baker signing autographs in the event hall on Thursday. It's got over 100,000 views on my TikTok.
Oh, was that the sideways smile one?
Yeah, if that doesn't show you that people want to like meet their content creators and there's like enough want for people to like get autographs or just like say hello and take a photo, like people want it, and like it's actually more wanted than any other content I'm pushing out, apparently. So it's like, give it to us.
Can we recognize how much work Baker's putting in, like at these DLCs?
Gosh.
Like they all are. Do not get me wrong.
They're working. They're working.
But Baker, you mentioned Thursday. I saw him on Friday morning for like 3 hours, like signing, doing pictures, all that. Like, dude is working hard, and you know. I doubt that his channel's even like really like taking off yet. So, you know, for not a lot of compensation other than the like emotional compensation, you know. So just shout out to him for loving it and putting himself into that. I recognized him in person. That's what he said. You know, when you do what you love, right? And that speaks volumes.
Yeah, all the whole casting team, both the one here in the U.S. and overseas and everything. It just the amazing amount of work that these people put in, and it's not just like show up and let's talk about the cards. I think Liam has talked about it on Illumineers and on some other videos that he's done. The amount of just homework that he does, to get prepared for this stuff. It's crazy to think about, putting that much effort into it if you don't just absolutely love it and love the game and love the community and, and the whole thing, really. Yeah.
The two that strike me, Liam and Katie, strike me as the ones that put in the most work on research. Like I've never listened to them and not been like, I can hear the research that you've done. Like, just knowing all the lines and what to expect and just not just research, but the time invested in thinking through how can I communicate this in an accessible way. Like I love all the casters for different reasons, but in terms of the research and in terms of the effort on the screen, as it were, or in the booth, those two, Katie and Liam, strike me as the hardest working in that aspect of it.
And then like the weekend after the event, they're like streaming on Monday night with champions.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Oh my gosh,
you're
Liam
home
looks
already? And
so
what the hell
tired.
are you?
I was
When
like-
did you sleep?
he's like in his pajama pants, hanging out. And yeah, no.
Literally.
I don't understand how he was able to even hop on that stream, but
Yeah.
no.
Hats off.
Yeah.
I mean,
really.
seriously. No. Well, are y'all planning on going to Indy? Yeah?
My brother lives out there. So
Oh, okay.
I hope so.
Even better.
Nice. I wasn't. Then after this weekend, I'm like, I kind of want to. So specifically, I don't really have much love for Infinity with the way it is right now. So genuinely, I think I might just go as an attendee and just draft a weekend.
That's the
And
way
honestly,
to go. I'm telling you.
That's going to be my plan until I see the ban that will come through for Blue Steel, because everyone knows we need it probably. But
Yeah, if things shake up and the format feels fresh and fun, then I might change that mindset. But like,
Man.
and I might even get a competitor's badge and then just drop the main event just to have it just in case. I don't know. I don't care about the extra $25.
though they said we weren't supposed to be able to do it, I saw people on Thursday get an attendee badge and a competitor badge and get the
okay.
ticket pricing for both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
I heard a
saying.
couple of
Not
people
saying
say
you
that they
should
had
do
that.
I'm just saying I saw it happen.
Yeah.
So take
I
that.
saw
as
that
you-
in Anaheim when it really mattered, when they were giving out like pins with the entry. I'm like, oh man, can I just
yeah.
buy more entries and get more of
Yeah.
the Cinderella
Yeah,
pins?
no, I've got like 5 tickets. Yeah. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah. Anyways.
I hope the promos for the collection quests become just the DLC promos or another promo that we all want. Like, I think that needs to change too. Like, you should be, if you're paying $20 or more to do a collection quest, you should be able to get a promo that's gonna probably end up being about $20. A lot of these promos now, we're seeing the foil Mulans drop below $50 already. It's at $40, I think,
Yeah.
now. Like,
What's funny is the Pegasus promo is worth more than the Mulan promo.
Is
it
it
is.
really?
It's because more people now have the Mulan one, and they didn't choose because they haven't been choosing the Pegasus, and now people are going to start choosing the Pegasus on the next event, and that one will go
No, I mean
down.
the foil one. The foil entry prize, like just for participating, is worth more than the prize that you need to win 3 for. And this is my point.
Yes.
Ravensburg, I love you. I love that you're doing these cool promos. The art on the Pegasus is fantastic. The art on the Mulan is fantastic. Pick playable promos.
Yeah,
Please.
I know, right?
They don't have to be bomb promos. They don't have to be like Hades. Just give me playable promos.
You also got the Mulan promo, not just the main event for 3 wins, but you also got it for the Infinity event at Milwaukee.
Yeah.
in
Oh, that's
Richmond.
good.
So that one,
Mhm.
that's why there's more Mulans out there than there are the Pegasus, I think, too.
That's awesome.
But
But yes, please make playable
Better cards.
promos.
I mean,
Ah.
it's not that much to ask, right? You know?
Again,
give
like
me Friends on the Other Side, promo Enchanted.
Oh my God.
Friends on the, oh my gosh.
So I could imagine if they were trying to make them playable, you miss every once in a while, right? You're play testing at Ravensburger, you think it's going to be big, it's not big, that happens. But now it's been consistent enough, and I'm like, there has to be a conscious choice to not make playable promos.
Part of
Can
the
you
choice is
imagine?
they're going princess. Done. No second thought. Mulan, she's a princess. We can print whatever card we want of her as a
Sure,
promo, and
but-
we don't care.
There's playable Mulans, there's playable princesses out there.
I think the charging ahead is very playable, but the issue is we don't have draw and Ruby. If we had draw and Ruby,
yeah,
Yeah.
that card
Ruby Steel
yeah.
isn't playable, and thus Mulan isn't
Yeah.
playable.
No.
Yeah.
As much as I wish it would be. I love Ruby Steel.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
We're
I'd
missing
be willing
one
to put
card.
money
One
down
card
now
is
that
all
the
we
set
need.
champs for Whispers or Winterspell is not going to be a playable one.
Why would you think that? Yeah.
History has told me
I
that
know, right.
this is not going to be the case. I mean, we'll see. I'd love to be proven wrong, but history has said that it probably won't be.
Well, all right. So we've hashed through the DLCs. No, I'm sorry. No, that's great. I mean, I hope both of y'all make it to Indy. It'd be great to see y'all again. Obviously, attendee badge. I'm going to highly recommend that. I loved it. It was great to be able to, not only am I not the super competitive kind of person, but it's nice to have the flexibility, because I was hopping around talking to all sorts of people in between rounds and doing all sorts of stuff. And Heath, I'm right there with you. I don't know if I could play a deck and play it, over and over and over and over and still, yeah. Well, and you end up playing, like you said, basically the same game. And so, to be able to have the variety that comes with limited is really nice. It's refreshing.
And no matter how hard you train and try and build a deck, you could go 06 and get 1957th place like I did in Milwaukee. So
you try your hardest. That's what you gotta.
You just go to have fun, and you'll have a better experience rather than like going and getting stressed out and wanting to win and wanting to win and wanting to win.
Yep.
Yeah. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so let's talk limited. So Kole, you played a ton of it. Heath, it's kind of your jam, as you've already said. I think I just dated myself using that slang, but
it's your jam.
It's your jam.
Hey, I'm pretty old here.
Cole's the
young one.
And Cole's like, oh my god, old people. Yeah. So okay, so y'all both did limited stuff at the DLC. So I would love to hear kind of what you enjoy. I mean, Heath, you kind of alluded to this, the variety and everything. But what is your favorite part about playing limited, either sealed or draft?
Personally, I like the level playing field when it comes to it. Like, yes, one person can get a little more lucky than the other when it comes to sealed, not as much in draft. But I just think that the more variety of what you could draw versus if you remember what's in your deck, all that kind of stuff is really cool to me. And on top of that, it's just it's an exciting format, especially those ink sprints I got to do a bunch of. I love best of one format for limited. And tell me if you agree with this or not, Heath. But I think all limited, draft, sealed, everything, super sealed should be best of one. That's just my opinion. I'm a little crazy person over here, but I think once you start to like, oh, you pulled that card, you have that in your deck, you start to make different choices as a player, and I like those choices of you don't know really what they have, they don't know what really you have. You're just playing to what you have to your ability, and there's something special about that. I like that form of Lorcana or that form of trading cards. It's like the purest to me. It's just like I'm gonna play my lines, and yes, I'm gonna react to what you have, but there's no like me trying to guess what crazy combo you could have maybe pulled because you're running both of those together, and you know what I mean. Like, yes, the cards exist and they should be in the pool of cards, but I think that the knowing the way they structured their deck should be more of a surprise.
I'm not sure I agree, but that's okay.
I figured you probably would. It's okay.
I do and I don't, which is to say I appreciate what you're saying. And for me, that's one of the things I love about limited is just the challenge of playing in a vacuum, right? Playing and they could have any card in the set in their deck. But I also think that I enjoyed the strategy of trying to anticipate an opponent's moves. And part of that is based on knowing potentially what's in their deck. But for me, it's the fact that in most limited games, you're not going to see the same card twice in a whole match, in a 3-game match. Like you're going to see this, you're going to see a chunk of the same cards, but they're going to come out in different orders. They're going to come out in maybe unideal times, versus the consistency of a constructed deck. So this is where you ask, why do I love limited? So I'm going to have to slim this down or we'd be here for the next hour. So there's 3 main things. First is what I did mention already, which is the repetition of constructed versus the freshness of limited. Now, there's still better cards in limited than not, so you're still going to see some level of repetition in limited. The best cards are still going to be the best cards, but you're not going to see them in the same order. They're going to be 1-ofs, maybe 2-ofs. It's not nearly as samey, and every game's a new puzzle. But an offshoot of that is consistency, right? The reason why constructed decks work in a different way than limited decks do is constructed decks are more consistent. You have 4-ups, right? So you're going to be able to reliably hit that turn 2 ramp with your Sapphire deck most of the time, especially with our generous mulligan system in a constructed deck. Whereas one of the reasons I am not necessarily pro ramp in limited, though I am in this set for different reasons, but in some sets I'm not pro ramp because you can't hit it consistently. So if I draw my ramp turn 7, that's not helping me, right? Yep. But that's the beautiful thing, is the lack of consistency means that you have to be more adaptable, right? You still have to adapt in constructed, but constructed is more about learning lines, right? I want to know what my deck's ideal lines are in each matchup, right? What my opponent's ideal lines are and how I counter that, right? Whereas in limited, it's much more, what's the board state right now? What are the random cards that I have in my hand now? And how do I solve that puzzle, right? How do I keep the big threat of kind of a poor match or a poor game in limited is the board stall. How do I avoid that proactively? How do I deal with that if it happens? How do I give my opponent just enough incentive to break that board stall, but still going to be favorable in my position, right? Quest with just the right character, just the right number of characters to break that board stall, but in a way that I can counter effectively, right? So this is the kind of constant ebb and flow of limited that I love, is you are constantly challenging yourself to adapt to new situations that you've never come across before, because the combination of cards has never been in that way before, right? Versus constructed, it's like, I've seen this play line with my opponent and with myself 100 times. Okay, I know what to do in this situation. This is my ideal line in this situation. The key to that is memorizing what the ideal lines are and being able to implement that, and being able to implement that again and again and again, right? In constructed. So lots of skill expression in constructed. It just, I would argue, a different skill expression in limited, and that's what I love.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's amazing, like, because I think basically every Lorcana player starts off on the constructed side. I think there's probably exceptions, I think it's fair to say, but it's amazing to me to have people who are normally, all in on the constructed stuff to come in and play draft or, play sealed or something. And they're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't understand, how do I play this? This is so different. Which is fun to me, to be able to like pass the pack and try to pick out pick the card that's going to be, either fit your deck the best or, is the best one out of the pack, or just being selfish and picking the epic when nobody else wanted it. I mean, that works too, right? But no, it is really cool. And, and I've enjoyed doing that kind of thing versus the constructed stuff. I play constructed a lot, at the LGS here, when I go and set champs and everything. But it is very refreshing to exercise a different set of mental skills to play, these kind of formats. So, yeah. So I'm curious, Heath, you said draft.
Draft is my favorite.
Preferred? Okay, cool.
Yeah, just because I like the additional layer of skill.
Okay.
Draft is close. Only thing that maybe tops it is like super sealed, just because it's such a variety of packs and sets, and like, and that it goes into also like maybe if there's some other versions I like more that we haven't gotten to play at these events yet, like some crazier chaos, like drafts or crazier. Like I would like some of that, maybe even more. You know what I mean? If we get to draft one pack of Fabled, one pack of Winterspell, one pack of Into the Unknown, like or Wilds Unknown, one like that, to me that's gonna be crazy, and that might be my favorite format of all time when we get there. But until then, I think what we have, super sealed, draft.
I haven't had a chance to play super sealed in person yet. I did some play testing with it leading up to Worlds to just try and give my thoughts on it. And I did find super skill intensive in terms of just paralysis of choice, right? So many different ways that you could build.
That's the biggest thing, I think.
So I think super
which colors not to run, which to run per your card pool.
I didn't do a super seal just because it's so expensive, but I would agree. In a vacuum, if we had a digital client where we could do any of them, super sealed is definitely very skill intensive as well. Agreed.
Oh. So I'm curious. Okay, So imagine somebody is sitting at the table, very first time, doing, let's say, draft. Since that's kind of, it seems to be a little bit more complicated since you're kind of interacting with other players at the same time. What are your top 3 pieces of advice for them as they get started?
Cool.
I would say they're sitting down to draft their first time. First of all, like, if you see a card you want, just for like the sake of you, take it. You know what I mean? Like, don't let something pass by you because you want to like build the best deck. Unless like you want to win, and that your strategy is not, you don't care about collecting the cards, then absolutely build the best deck.
Yeah.
But if,
don't
like, that's not your
don't
goal,
feel ashamed for taking a card that you want for your
don't
collection.
feel bad. Don't feel ashamed for it.
Yeah.
Now, like, if that is not your goal, and like your goal is to like win, then like draft those evasives, draft those removal cards you need draft those inkable cards. Make sure your curve is there, meaning like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 playables. Make sure the cards you're getting are going to advance your board state. If you're on in the play and you're like not favored to start the game, you're going to need those instant lore gain cards, like those Hans that gain a lore on play if you have a princess. Those cards that stop your opponent from questing or from untapping next turn. Those cards that throw a wrench into plan too. And you have to have a good balance of only a few of those at each ink curve, and then like enough characters at those ink curves, so you're mostly seeing the characters first and then those other cards later when you need them. Is kind of like the biggest advice I would say.
All right. Heath, how about you?
Yeah, so 3 pieces of advice that I give them. First of all, if you're thinking towards Winterspell and you're like, you know what, I'm going to want to play in limited, especially if we're talking draft, really anything, would be to look up a little bit ahead of time. So I can tell you that actually the best guide to how to draft is not my own. I'm going to shout out Inkborn Heroes. They put together a really accessible short video on just the elements of drafting and just kind of the mechanical aspect of how to draft Lorcana. So I would recommend them for that. If you want to dig a little bit deeper, the nuts and bolts of it, but you want to get into the more strategic aspect of it, I've got a video on kind of my tips for drafting, kind of how to draft to win, as it were, on my channel. So depending on what level you're at, if this is your first draft effort, Inkborn Heroes. If you've drafted before, but you're like, this is the first time that I really want to kind of go after a win, then check out my video on that. So do a little bit of research there. And then second to that would be, if you want to draft to win, because this is my advice to, people that want to do well with it, right? Is quite frankly, practice. And I know this sounds dumb and I know this sounds obvious, but the reason I bring this up is because I've mentioned a few times skill intensive. I love the skill element of it. There's, that can sound intimidating, especially if you're like, oh, I'm already kind of challenged in constructed and I got these guys that are crushing me in constructed and I just want to do well in something. Quite frankly, the skill gap between a player that is, practicing their limited skills and not is pretty significant right now. In constructed, everyone's kind of really focused on constructed, so it's kind of hard to get much of an edge there, right? You got to practice for hundreds of games to see tangible differences in your performance in constructed. Whereas in limited, not really anyone's focusing on it right now. So if you focus on it a little bit, you can actually find you can take leaps and bounds in terms of your local scene, or even at the DLC in terms of side events. I recorded a video earlier today about that very thing for my channel about, listen, guys, like there's some great players out there, but the skill to draft or to build a sealed pool is different than the skill to play the game. And so if you work on that a little bit, you're going to see some tangible results in a relatively short period of time. So this doesn't necessarily help you for Winterspell, but maybe down the line, right? If you want to actually start winning in limited, just do some practice. So I want to create a video that I haven't created yet, which is like you're opening your packs wrong, which is to say, for me, it's any pack that's opened that you're not using to play limited is a pack wasted. With a little bit of hyperbole there. I know you're going to crack packs, right? But like you buy a box or you buy a case and you just crack them all. Like you could be playing Pack Rush, you could be playing Sealed. If you've got a big enough group, you could be playing Draft. Like 6 people pod is plenty to draft with. But like I've bought a case of the last 2 sets and I've done Sealed every time. There was 4 of us that would get together. And I'd be like, all right, you guys could use my packs. I get them back afterwards. But we're just going to play Sealed with these. And I open another box where it's like, let's just do some Pack Rush, right? Or some multiplayer Pack Rush or whatever. Like, if you're going to buy boxes anyway, why would you not use it to have some extra fun with the opening process and then still have the cards afterwards? So that's a good way to practice as well. That's only 2, but I've talked long enough, so let's stop.
You could put a third one in.
Yeah.
I think have fun with it, right? Like, again, it sounds dumb, but I can't stress this enough. Like, if you're feeling stressed about Draft or Sealed or whatever, like, don't read too much into it. That's why I don't try to stress out about the main event. I want to have fun with it. Like, if I do well, great. If I don't, that's okay too. If you want to win, there's steps that you can take to do that. But if winning is the only goal and you don't have fun along the way, what's the point, right? So make sure you're having fun as well, and check yourself if you're not, right? If you're just feeling stressed about it and you're not having fun with it, then assess that and be like, okay, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm having fun first? And if I feel like I need to be competitive, being competitive second.
Heath, what was your limited record this past weekend at DLC Richmond?
So I did 5 single elimination drafts. So there was 2 types of drafts. There was scheduled drafts, which you would play all 3 rounds regardless.
Right.
And then there was single elimination on demand. I played the single elimination on demand because I wanted to go all in because you could earn a lot more tickets on that. You could cap out at 5,400 tickets with on demand and 3,000 with the schedule. So I did on demand. I did 5 drafts and I went 3-0 in all of them. So I was 15-0 for the weekend in drafts.
Oh my gosh.
Which sounds insane saying it.
I didn't realize the ticketing was that different. I did a lot of the scheduled events, and now I know for the future.
I got 2 mats, yo.
Draft pods.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't, usually to get a bunch of, prizes, you got to like do well in the Friday event or the Sunday event or something like that. I'm like, no, just draft.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, this is where I talk about the different on the players that I played against, because there were some really great players in there. But like, I've played against players that have day 2'd previous DLCs when it was top 64. And I played against a guy who did really well, but I beat him, who had started 9-1 in the main event. Like, you'll play against really good players, but if you practice your limited skills a bit, you can outshine some really exceptional constructed players because you've put effort into a limited skill set.
I'll say Saturday I was undefeated in my my limited events, which is pretty exciting. I just did 1 Pack Rush, and then I did a draft where I went 3-0, and I ended up playing the guy who also is 3-0 to see who was the real 3-0 with our decks. I beat him, so I went 4-0 technically. Then
did he slip you any tickets for it, or?
We did put some tickets down.
There you go.
Anyway, it was good. It was very fun. And then I did that Chaos starter deck tournament, which honestly, they picked our starter deck, and we all got a pack of Whispers in the Well, and you could add whatever you wanted from both the packs to the deck. And I got the detective starter deck because I think the guy saw me dressed as Mickey and was like, I'm going to
This guy wants to do detectives.
Yeah, of course.
But that was the best one because I got all the detectives in the pack, plus the pack and the thing with the detectives. And it was just like a constructed deck with detectives that I was like demolishing like Into the Inklands decks and like whatever else they had that they were running. It was just like, ooh, I feel bad for him. But went 3-0. So.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. I wish I could say that my record was that good, but it was not. So.
Hey, your draft deck, the pod that we drafted together, I watched you play, and both the draft deck and the gameplay were good. Like, do not sell yourself short, because I saw that on Twitter, and I'm going to call you out. You did very well. You can't be results oriented. If you know that you drafted a solid deck, yes, I'm sure that there was a few picks somewhere that if I was sitting in the same seat, I might have done differently. Doesn't mean better, differently, right? And if you know that you drafted well and you know that you played a good game and the luck wasn't there, that's going to happen in constructed, in limited. Do not be results oriented. Assess how you did. And as far as what I saw on the table, I think you did well.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. All right, so speaking of picks, I'm interested on y'all's opinions on certain things. Okay, first one, uninkables.
7.
I can tell you it depends on the uninkables, but in a vacuum, 4 comfortable, 6 fine, above 6 you're gonna have to start mulliganing more conservatively. But I will also say that low cost uninkables are you can cheat a little bit more with those than high cost uninkables. High cost uninkables could be the death of you.
As few as 5, and I will say I'm not running them if they're not like removal. They're not like great cards. I'm running only the good ones.
Well, let me put it this way: I ran 2 of the 3 cost 5/3 wolves that like I gave F in my reviews, but like I had so few uninkables in my deck. I'm like, I can run these. It's fine. I'm okay with running uninkables, but you got to be careful and err on the side of lower cost uninkables. And or like uninkables that like ramp you, so like Mickey Mouse Detective, perfectly fine, right?
Also, if you know you're running like maybe like me a little bit more, a little crazy, 7. I think the most I've ever done is like 10 uninkables, which is crazy.
I've done 11.
I've done 10.
Jeez.
But here's the thing: you have the mull. So in your hand, if you have all inkable characters, but you're like, oh, these all suck, I want to put more back. Maybe not, because you have like 10 unequals. You could get 7 unequals back in your hand and lose the game.
Yep.
So you only
in a 40 card deck, you know, you've already seen a significant percentage of your deck. That means a significant percentage of your deck is uninkable. 100%. I'm with you there, Kole.
Yeah. So it's just knowing when to mull and when not to, if you are at a higher level.
Yeah. This is why my favorite set to draft so far has been Shivering Skies, because there was so many good uninkables that it really pushed you. That was the set I had 11, because I think 2 or 3 of them were the 9 cost ones that reduced in cost.
Or like had rush or stuff, or
so yes, Shivering Sky is still my favorite set to draft ever. But I will say above 5 cost, you should be very careful about putting an uninkable in your deck. Like I'll put Little John, which is a huge bomb and whispers, in my deck, of course.
I like all of the removal in Fabled, like Mob Song and Be King Undisputed and Strength of the Raging Fire. It's such a like heavy set for like just get rid of your character.
So I will say, so for me, the perfect example of what not to draft is Hades, the 7 cost Hades, because on paper, amazing,
terrible,
love it, but getting to 7 in limited is really hard. Unless you're drawing a lot of cards, which is very hard to do because everyone is taking the cards that say draw a card, then it's really hard to get to 7. And not only is it hard to get to 7 just mechanically in terms of having enough cards, but also it means you're investing that many cards into ink that no other card in your deck is using.
So only exceptions I would say for those 7 and 8 drops is, and how someone beat me was with that Yzma. I think she's an 8 drop, but she has a shift line of I think 5. And she's evasive, and she like bounces or does crazy stuff. The dual inked one. So if they have a shift line, and if you have the target for the shift line, running that higher ink cost, and if it's inkable, I would say only if it's inkable.
Oh, inkable, sure. Like because worst case scenario,
it.
It's the high uninkables that I'm on right now.
Yeah, uninkable, no. But yeah, that Hades. Somebody drafted him and tried to play him against me, and they never got him out. And I was like,
I'm like, he's a great card in your hand.
In your collection.
In your collection,
Yeah.
Nice. All right, next up, how important is synergy among your cards? Like detective synergy or, something like that.
It's helpful at times.
Care to expand?
I was like,
that's it. Just drop,
I mean, like detectives, if you pulled 2 of the 3-drop Basil who gets resist when you play a detective, some more detectives is nice. Princesses, if you pulled like 3 of the Hans gain 1 lore, you want to look for those princesses. Like if you see some of it that's the helpful stuff, look for some of the other stuff that goes with the stuff you already have kind of got in your pool, but otherwise don't like try to look for it and build your deck around. Be like, okay, I gotta get these princesses and I have to get these ramp, and I need to get. You're not going to get everything you need in time. Like, get good cards, and then get the good cards that go better with the cards you already have before maybe you get a card that you're on the fence about. Like, oh, I could get another Hans because I have like 7 princesses, or I could get this 2-drop evasive Diablo who gets Challenger +2. He's good, but like, would it be better to get that Hans, that extra Hans? Yeah, absolutely, in my opinion.
Yep. I would say this is where I'm going to finally diverge in sealed versus draft. So in sealed, if you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. Mm-hmm. Right? So don't force it if you don't have it. But if you've got the synergies there, of course, make use of them. In draft, this is probably the biggest pitfall that I see players make, is they try to force a synergy strategy. And Lorcana, Ravensburger just hasn't driven synergies enough in limited in the set to actually make it viable, which is to say the one time that I've seen a synergy that I think would be consistently viable is Allies 3 sets ago, when there was like 50 good allies. Like, they're good on their own and there's synergies in there. That was about the only time where I'm like, this could actually work. But like Pirates and Azerite Sea, the density of good cards wasn't enough to make that work. Detectives in this set, I had a deck where I drafted good detectives that were good on their own, and I ended up drafting enough of them that I had one game where the detective synergy went off, and it was beautiful. But I didn't try and force detectives. I drafted good cards that happened to be detectives, and then over time I was like, okay, I've got enough good detectives that have synergies. I had the 6-drop Judy, I had the 5-drop Nick Wilde, I had Chief Bogo. I'm like, now I can maybe start drafting detectives a little bit higher, because they work with these cards that I've already got. But if you draft cards, so I played against someone in my last pod on Sunday, in our pod, I played against someone that drafted detectives in the hopes that they would make detectives work, and it didn't work. And she expressed regret at that. She's like, I had fun, but she expressed some regret at that. And I'm like, did you get like the 6-drop Judy? She's like, no, I was hoping to get it. I'm like, get the good detective cards that are good on their own, and then maybe work on that. Same with like boost synergies. Like, if you've got cards that are good with boost and you never find those good boost cards, you've wasted picks, right? So get cards that are good on their own, and then near the mid pack 3, maybe start as early as pack 3 if you're found some really good cards early. You start seeing the synergies have already developed on their own, and then you can lean into that. Great, but don't try and force synergies in draft.
It is definitely different in sealed, yes. I think a lot of this stuff is kind of like, there are some general things that work just for limited, but yeah, there are definitely those differences between them because, obviously you have more control in sealed. So, yeah.
This is about the consistency of constructed versus limited, right? Ask yourself, what's the likelihood that not only am I going to see these cards at all, but I'm going to see them in the right order to make it happen, right? Like, if you see all your detective payoffs, but none of the other detectives, or you see all the detectives that are going to work with the payoffs, but you never see the payoffs, or you see them in the wrong order for their ink costs, or whatever the case may be. When you've only got 1 ofs or maybe 2 ofs in the deck, right, you have to think about the likelihood of actually seeing these play out.
Yep. All right, next one, trap cards. What are some big red flags when you're looking at these cards for limited?
If you're locked and loaded, go ahead. I'm still thinking on that one.
Okay. I mean, quite frankly, we actually kind of already established them, which is high cost uninkables, cards that are only good in their synergies and aren't really good on their own are the 2 biggest ones, right?
I think a good example is that returned page card. It's a bit of a trap. It's really good in synergies, but if you're trying to push boosts when you don't have it, or you want to get that card just to get a little bit extra draw potentially, it's a trap card. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that one at least searches for a character. So I'd go one further and say like the bagpipes. Okay. Bagpipes, which you only you boost a character for free. It costs 2. And then you gain a lore if your boosted characters are challenged. Like, that has very little value without it has no value without boost. The page one, at least, that's the one that you start. It's basically be our guest. On an item, and then you can boost or whatever the case, whatever boost synergies it is. So that one's at least like what I would qualify as a D+. It's not good.
9 times out of 10, still rather have like a 2-quester.
Oh yeah. Well, this is the thing, right? In limited, there's so many times where you just rather a character.
Yeah.
Like, just anything else.
Someone who quests for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, please.
So the third trap that I'll say is cards that might be really good 5 to 10% of the time and kind of useless the other 90%. Because what our nature is like, ooh, what if this does this? Right?
What if I get the Camilo Madrigal? What if I have him and then I get the one?
So a good example of that is we've had a couple of songs over the years now, I can say. It's like -3 strength to all opponents' characters for the turn, or even until the start of your next turn. And you're envisioning, what if they've quested out with 4 characters, and I have 4 characters, and I can play this and challenge in and get rid of all their characters, and all of mine survive, and it's amazing. Okay, but how many times is it sitting in your hand and you've got a stalled board state? Or they only quest with 1 or 2 and you've got to use this for maybe very little value, or your bodies aren't matching up with their bodies such that you're actually getting value of that, and. Like, it goes on and on. So I'm not saying don't include those cards, but those should be like your 38th, 39th, 40th cards that are ink 90% of the time. And then you use them 90% of the time. But if that's the case, then draft them accordingly, right? If it's draft, right? Draft them in the last few picks of the pack. Right? If it's sealed, then it just depends on what your pool is, right? Feel free to include them, but don't be chasing after that dream of what if. Ink them if the what if isn't there, and if the what if comes up, beautiful.
It's good. Well said.
Nothing to add?
That's kind of it. I was trying to think of specific cards from the past set that are definitely like trash, but I think we named a couple of them already. So
Yep.
Bad items.
Yeah.
Maybe that
Bad items, yeah.
Maybe I saw some people trying to run it, but I still think like the action that gives +1 lore and support. Find a lead or something.
So I did have someone win a game with that, but I mean they were going to win anyway.
1 out of
they just want to turn earlier.
and you will win 1 game with it ever. You know what I mean?
1 game.
Like,
actually, I can tell you one specific because I talk about high cost uninkables, but I will say Ka, the 7-drop Ka. Because the other ones are weak enough. Like Chef Louis, like, okay, this is pretty good for 7-drop, but relative to some of the others, maybe not. But Ka is the one that tempts people a lot, and I've seen a lot of people like take it too early and expect to do things with it, and by the time they get it out, either have a Dragonfire for it or it's too late. So it's not that it's not good. Like if I can get it out, I'm happy to get out a 6/7/3 lore evasive, sure. But by the time I get it out, if I get it out, it's most of the time too late. So I think Ka's a bit of a trap. I will absolutely include him, but again, I'm looking to pick him in the last like 3, maybe 4 picks of a pack. If it's a bad pack, maybe earlier than that, but do not be like proactively drafting Ka.
Anything 7, 8, 9 drops, they're all traps, in my opinion. Almost 99% of the time, it's gonna be a trap. Except for Mob Song. Mob Song has my heart at a 10 drop.
I mean, that's a greedy pick, but it's also like if you play it well.
It won me multiple games in Milwaukee.
Yeah. You just got to be smart with it.
Yep. Well, and now we have Winterspell on the horizon, which has already been said that it's going to be a little bit more limited friendly. Hopefully, I don't know what that means, but
number 1 pick for a card you would always pick first in a draft from Winterspell there,
or from Whispers.
Yeah, from Whispers. Whispers. I mean,
this came up quite a bit on the weekend. What's my number 1 card? And it's tough between a few different cards. So I've got top 3, which is the other. I've got Ursula, Cheshire, and David Xanatos as my top 3.
Oh wow!
Little John is an honorable 4th. Okay. But I think David Xanatos is my number 1.
Okay.
Good card.
I'm number 1, Peter Pan evasive. Number 2, Nibs.
I like Nibs.
Number 3, David Xanatos.
Okay.
Because Nibs, the bounce back to your hand when he's in a challenge, he's quest for 2 and he's a 3/3 at 4 drop.
So here's the thing about Nibs. I've had quite a few times where I've just been able to tempo them with Nibs, which is to say you're getting it back, but you're still paying 4 every time. So if I can like not trade with it, like run my 5/5 into it, like you're getting it back, but I've still got a body on the board and you've still got to replay it and not see value again for another turn after that. Like it's good. Don't get me wrong. I value Nibs highly, but I value him in like the B to B plus territory. Useful.
Very good.
If not played effectively, and like so the one that I'm thinking of most was one I played at the airport with a friend of mine who's a very good player, and like he used the heck out of him. He got him back like 3 or 4 times, And I still won that game because I was just able to tempo him out as a result. And Peter Pan is exceptional. He's in like B plus A minus territory for me. But when he's trumped by Violet Saberwing and by the 4-2, which eel was it again? Anyways, one of the eels.
Jetsam.
Yeah. Jetsam, the 4-2 evasive, and by Inkcaster. And there's quite a few.
I had all of those as well. And I had 2 Peters in one of my draft pods. And my strategy was hold the Peters, even if you see one of them, until turn 6, double Peter on 6.
Don't get me wrong. Like I said, Peter's great. Peter's great.
Yeah.
But I would probably mark him in my top 10, not necessarily in my top 1 or 2.
Fair. Also, Demona with a gun, also great.
It's a good one.
The 4/6.
The 4/6.
That's what Panda and Eric Quest call her.
I think I might now. I had her as the top 4 drop. I think I might have Goliath above her now. I really got good use out of Goliath.
Really good too.
Okay.
But yeah, she is great.
Honorable mention.
I think her and Goliath are my top 2 4 drops.
Yeah.
Above Nibs, actually.
Nibs, no.
Poor Nibs.
He was just so good. Whenever I would see them
very
finally
good.
use their removal song, they would use their Diet Zeus. They'd get rid of something. Next turn, I'm playing Nibs because now I've seen them play probably the only removal they have in their hand.
Yep.
And now I can just value. And if they have to take him out, yeah, he's back to my hand. But I'm at least getting 2 off him at least every turn, probably.
Genuinely, I think my number 5 is Dragonfire, though. So under the 4 that I mentioned,
the
4 bombs, I think my number 5 might be Dragonfire.
It's a good one.
It's so, again, hold off on it a little bit. Like, don't play it on turn 5.
Yeah.
Establish a strong board, then use it to cripple them with, I had someone sandbagging, or like you can tell they're inking up to something. This is where I cause a problem. Like, they spend turn 6 inking and passing. Like, okay, so you're inking towards a 7 drop. Guess who's holding their Dragonfire 1 turn longer, right? Like, I had an opponent that was running the shift line Shere Khan. And so I made sure to get rid of their 2 drops early. And then at one point, he inked to 6 and passed. And I'm like, okay, I probably should hold off on my Dragonfire. Inked to 7. I think he might have drawn at some point because he played a threat that I would like to Dragonfire. But I'm like, you got Shere Khan in your hand.
Yeah, I know.
Sure enough, at one point he ink played Shere Khan, and I didn't even draw. Like, I drew for the turn, but like set it aside because I wanted him to know I didn't top deck it.
Yeah,
I'm like, I will remove your Shere Khan.
That's so funny.
Nice. So I'm curious.
What were we talking about? Oh yes, we were talking about
Winterspell. Yeah. No. So okay. So if they've said that it's going to be more limited friendly, what do you guys think that means? Like, do you think it's going to be a different balance, a different ratio of cards? Are the cards going to be more friendly to limited play, or I don't know?
My guess, and I'm always wrong, so take it at a minuscule here. I think they're going to change how the packs are split up, whether it be like number of commons, uncommons, add a card, something like that. I still think, unfortunately, to some of our chagrin, people who hate it, I still think we'll have common, uncommon, rare, super rare, legendary, iconic, epic, all the same rarities that we have. Mm-hmm. But I think that at most, which I don't think we'll see in this set, but hopefully we'll see this year, we also could get iconics in every ink color, which would be cool to eventually see, because I think that would bring their hit rates from like 2,000-ish packs down to closer to 1,000 or 1,000 something-ish packs, which makes the experience of opening an iconic a little bit closer to what opening Enchanted is, a little bit higher actually. And then Enchanteds would be a little bit more like, not quite what epics are now, but like double or triple as rare. So you're getting almost guaranteed an Enchanted per box. You know what I mean? So it just will feel a lot nicer per openings. That's what my hope is, my wish is. And now I fully don't think I could see us not getting the iconic per ink color till later this year. But I do think they're doing some kind of reworking in the packs for the sealed experience. Because like you said, they said they're doing it. Heath, thoughts?
Do you want what I want to happen or what I think will happen?
Think first, then want.
Let's go with want first, then think, because let's save the bad news till last.
No.
what I want to see happen. So I want to see a few things happen like that, like a play pack. So the Magic the Gathering, which is what my background is, had like draft packs. So 15 card packs instead of 12 card packs, just to make drafting a little bit more, diverse in terms of a slightly bigger card pool, right? But what I'd really like to see is ink restrictions. The problem is our current format would not be able to do that. We draft 48 cards, we keep 40 of them. Like there's no way you could implement an ink restriction there. So how do we do that? I think there's a few different ways to do that. So I think that Knive, shout out Knives Nerd Corner, actually implemented rules before the first chapter even came out, before they had original draft rules. We drafted on a simulator based on a set of rules that he implemented, which was that I can't remember how many inks he restricted it to. I think it was 3, but maybe 4. But if you couldn't get up to 40 cards, you could put like inkwell cards in your deck, which could only ever be ink, right? You could discard them like a regular card, or you could ink them, but you would never play them as anything, right? So that's one way. I don't think they'll do that way just because they don't want to put another element in there, having to have these inkwell cards, but that could be a way that you could do it. Another way, the way that I've been kind of toying around internally, but would need a lot of play testing to figure out what the right balance is going up on packs or going down on deck size. So up on packs to 5 or 6, 5 probably more realistically, or down in deck size to 30 cards. I think each of those has its problems and are necessitates. Let's start with the deck size, because that for me is the most straightforward. I have a big problem with that because I just told you what I love about limited is the lack of consistency. If you've got a 30 card deck with the mulligan system that we have now,
everything,
you are seeing half of your deck potentially before turn 1. So I think that makes the decks too consistent, and it makes bombs more impactful because you're more likely to be able to find them, right? So I have a problem with that. The problem with going up in packs is it's already kind of time intensive to draft. But I think there is a solution for that Magic has been testing with, which is a pick 2 system, which is when you open the pack, you take 2 cards, then you pass that pack, you take 2 cards, you pass that pack, and depending on how many cards are in the pack, eventually you may pick 1. If say that we got 2 15-card packs, maybe your last pick is 1 pick instead of 2. But it's a pick 2 system instead of a pick 1 system. It would speed up the process quite a bit. It's a lot faster for one person to take 2 cards out of a pack than for 2 people to take 1 card out of the same pack, right? The problem with that is, again, consistency. You can kind of tailor your deck a little bit more, and it also makes cracking a powerful pack more significant, right? The thing I love about draft over sealed is sealed, you can crack really well or you can crack really poorly, but you're kind of at the mercy of what you crack. In draft, if you crack a bad pack, you only have to take the best card out of that pack and you can ship it off. If you crack a great pack, you only get to take the best card out of that pack, and then you got to ship it to the next person. So it mitigates, it evens out that disparity of cracking well or cracking poorly. If you're taking 2, you're offsetting that mitigation a little bit. It imbalances things a little bit more in terms of how you're cracking. So again, I see good things and bad things about that. The reason why I want to work towards ink restrictions is because I think this is what's keeping draft from taking a step towards being more competitive. I think there are competitive players in the Lorcana sphere that dismiss draft because they see it as take the best card. I refute that categorically, but I do think that it would require more skill expression to have a ink restriction. I think that is a net positive, but I don't think that draft is in a bad place because there is no ink restriction yet. I just think it could be better. It just would necessitate a different format. So that's what I want to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. What I think is going to happen is a minor tweak, maybe to the rules, to the way we draft, to the packs, something like that, at most. I'm a very cynical person at heart. I will believe it when I see it. I believe good intentions. Of course, they want to make draft and sealed great. It sells more packs. But whether they will have and I'm going to be a little bit unkind here in terms of my verbiage, courage. I don't mean it in, that you're not lacking courage, but I mean, it takes a great deal of courage in a game of this scope and what's at stake to make big changes to anything, right? So I'm not going to put that pressure on them to make big changes. I want to see big changes, but I expect small tweaks at most.
Make changes, you cowards. Yeah.
I actually have a number 2 that I think they can do, that I would like to see, which is more synergy, which is to say lean into the synergies more, but make them, this is where having color restrictions would be great, make them color specific, which is to say if we could get to like a 4-color ink restriction or a 3-color, and the ink cards or the colors of ink had very distinct synergies. Magic does this really well. They have dual ink, identities within their space, and they do things kind of unique to that color pairing or to those colors. And so when you're drafting synergies, I want to draft the white-blue flyers deck. I want to draft the blue-green tokens deck. Like in limited, you can do that because they lean into the synergies enough that they're consistent enough that you can build those decks.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know which of those is going to happen. I mean, they all sound great, honestly. I think it would add a lot of interest, or like interesting kind of variety to, we've been playing the same limited, the same stuff for, a couple of sets now, or well, I guess since basically the beginning, and I think spicing it up a little bit is going to be, it would be interesting to see. I think it definitely, Heath, I definitely agree that it would bring more, I think, of the competitive players back over to kind of be like, okay, yeah, this is an actual real thing because it has like, this structure. It's not just here's a bunch of cards, let's pick from them, like you said, pick the best card. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really interested to see what that looks like, what actual changes that means. Hopefully it's relatively significant so that it is actually like a real commitment from Ravensburger to say, yeah, we're making it more limited focused or more limited friendly. We actually took steps to do that. It's not just, oh, we're going to like slightly tweak this little thing. And it's like,
right.
That kind of feels bad,
And not to again to be cynical here again, but since we know we're at least getting in Wilds Unknown these pre-release set packs, right? Whatever it is that we're getting here with Winterspell, I think it's going to be like the halfway step. It's going to be like, we've kind of seen this, right? We saw with the set champs cards, with the, from not full art to kind of full art, non-foil promo now to now, the things that have been tweaked each few sets kind of steps along. And I think this kind of, though we don't know what it is, that's what this feels like. It's going to be a step forward, but it's not going to, we're going to be like, oh, so we're almost there though. It's going to be like almost what we want, but not quite enough. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's the tune I'm already sniffing out that we'll find out very soon here in less than a week, I think.
Yeah, should be starting up soon.
By the way, shout out Ravensburger. If you want free playtesting, consulting, I love my day job, so I don't want a job, but I would love to help, So if you want some free work, I'm more than happy to work on the limited aspect of the game if you want.
Nice.
And Greg Tito, I just want a jacket. I want a zip up Lorcana jacket with my name on it.
I will take payment in swag. Yes.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
I mean, how else are we going to get it, right? We got to go to a DLC, so... Yeah. Sorry, a little spicy. Well, hey, guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me tonight. I really appreciate it. I have learned a lot personally, and I appreciate y'all sharing some of your experience and your knowledge, on the limited side of things. I did have some questions that I was going to ask. Usually I ask the same last 4 questions of my guests, but you guys have answered those already. And actually you answered some of the ones that I had in there this time. So I do have one left though. And
we have to thank this episode though, Citizens of Lorcana, like literally was just talking about we need a limited coverage of everything with us 2 people here. So shout out to Citizens of Lorcana. Here we are. And obviously you, Chris, for making it happen. So
hey, I'm just happy that it worked out to have both of y'all. It was like, it's fate. So, no. Okay, so this last question you have to answer individually. All right. So, Kole, if I passed you a pack that had the epic He Hurled His Thunderbolt, the new Mowgli, and I'm gonna mispronounce this, but the Gwithint Savage Hunter,
Gwythaint.
the
Yeah.
Gwythaint, yeah. Which would you pick and why?
Okay, well, I still need the epic He Hurled His Thunderbolt, so I'm taking it for my collection.
Okay.
Easiest answer of the night.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. So if it was just a regular one and not the epic, I'll make it harder for you.
Okay, if it was the regular one, I'm definitely taking, I think, I think it's a 5-drop. Depends on my curve of what I've already drafted. That's the real answer.
Yep.
But the easy answer, and how many of aces I have. But the real easy answer is probably just Mowgli, because he's a 2-drop, though he's a 1/2 in limited format. If they do have any non-song stuff, it's going to get out of their hand. Now, that might be the wrong answer, but I think it's just I like to go faster than some in these limited formats, and I'm a aggressive player. So I'd rather be able to play out like 2, 3, 4 very consistently than like maybe have a 5 that sits in my hand, or that I have to ink. Even worse, if I have to ink that Gwythaint, I'm like, ugh, my life stinks.
Yep. All right, Heath, how about you?
Okay, so this is where I saw this question in your primer, and I wanted to ask you, what are you really trying to ask in this question? Are you trying to ask for outside value versus good, versus like beautiful art versus good in limited, or what's that real question here? Cards aside.
Good and limited. Let's go with that.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to push back on the cards, because I think regardless of what version, foil, regular, or epic, He Hurled His Thunderbolt is so far and away better than the other 2 cards. Okay. And Gwythaint's very good. Mowgli is terrible. I'm sorry. I agree about the curve part. I just disagree about Mowgli being a good character to play on that curve.
He's not as good in limited.
Most limited decks are like 4, maybe 5 cards that are not characters. Like, you're not hitting with Mowgli almost any time. Maybe on 2 if you're lucky and you catch them, right?
I'm probably going to ink him. I'm probably going to ink him anyway.
So now if Mowgli was a valuable card, that would be an interesting kind of dynamic to the question. But I think you can discount Mowgli for both parts. He's not valuable and he's not good at limited. Gwythaint, very good evasive, but He Hurled His Thunderbolt is just exceptional. So easily He Hurled His Thunderbolt in any way, shape, or form. Non-foil, doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected.
The difficult one for me, and the one I think I chose wrong, was He Hurled His Thunderbolt over Dragonfire. I picked He Hurled His Thunderbolt over a Dragonfire in one, and I regretted it every single game.
All right.
That's not true. There was one game where I sung it on the 5/4 Detective Nick Wilde, which was very fortuitous because it was about to destroy me. That was the detective one that I was talking about. Yeah, otherwise, Dragonfire all the way.
I did, in fact, draft a Mowgli, by the way, in my undefeated draft, and played it 2 games and got sung out of their hand both times. Just gonna say.
Awesome.
Nice.
I mean, statistically, highly unlikely, but very good. And that's the thing, though. But here's the thing, and this is not, I hate saying things like this because it sounds so ego. Bad players will play more non-characters. So you're going to rip more from bad players than you were from good players. Yeah. Which isn't to say, well, rip them. I had someone play Mowgli against me and ripped a card out of my hand. But guess what? It was like a Della's Moon Lullaby, and I'm like, okay, you have a 1/2. I don't care. I'm good.
And if I'm being honest, I probably would take the Diet Zeus if I had no removal. Like, if I have nothing to get rid of evasives, I'm taking that. But if I had like a Dragonfire already, or some other the item that allows you to pop, it's inkable, and you can pop it for 1, and you play a character and deal 2 damage. That's removal. Like, if I had none of that, yeah, I'm taking the removal. But.
By the way, fair disclosure, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I cheated in one game in my first round, my first pod. I forgot that Gwythaint was your opponent's choice. And he didn't call me out on it either, so we both forgot. And this is a guy that reviewed the set, so I definitely should know, and there's no excuse not to. But I thought it was your choice. And then later, I'm like, I just happened to read it. I'm like, oh no. But this was later in the day, it was after the pod was done. I'm like, uh-oh.
It's one of those, huh?
Sorry.
Hey, it happens.
If you see me and you're like, I want my tickets back, you see me in Indy.
LOL.
I owe you 1,200 tickets.
I thought that's how the twins was just like deal damage, but you have to have a location or something, right?
I
Yeah.
made that
When that-
mistake as well. The first time I
that
played the
card when
Twins.
set came out, I was playing it like dealing damage, and like after a game, someone was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Oh."
I misconstrued the Twins for the eel, the 7-drop that deals 3 damage to a damaged character. I was thinking that one. I saw those locations. I'm like, shoot. So
Yeah.
if you ever misread a card or whatever, don't feel bad. Even the
happens.
people that review the set and all the cards in it sometimes forget what cards do.
Literally.
Yep, does happen. Well, guys, let's finish this out. Go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you and your content and all your greatness.
Heath, you've been letting me go first all night.
All right. Be Our Guest Lorcana on Twitter and on YouTube. YouTube is at Be Our Guest Lorcana. Full Twitter, they will only let me put a shorter title, so it's at BOG Lorcana on Twitter. But I suppose this is as good a time as any to like give a spoiler. I don't know when it's going to be, but presumably in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be rebranding. I'm going to rebrand to the Mad Drafter because I love Alice in Wonderland. I love the Mad Hatter, and I am tired of having IP in my title and potentially copyright infringement. So we are rebranding.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I love my name. I created it when I thought I was going to get like 20 subs ever. I just wanted a welcoming name, but I think having the name of a Disney song as my title is probably not a great idea.
I love the change. We love a rebrand. I saw who is it that just rebranded as Lily and
Oh yeah, Lorcana Fanatics.
Quests.
Now it's Family Quest. Yeah.
Family
I
Quest.
love a
And
rebrand.
we are currently in the Inkwell Lounge. So
Yeah.
rebranding all over the
Yeah.
place.
Tis the season.
Rebrands. And I rebranded last year around this time to Quest with Kole, which is where you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube on Tuesdays. I have a Coffee with Kole series who my guest next week I think is going to be Zbex. So excited for that.
Nice.
So that's a little bit of a tidbit of insider information there. And yeah, just follow along for the wild Lorcana collection and play journey that is this game that we all love and play.
Awesome.
Very good.
Well, thank you guys again. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you around the community.
You bet.
Bye, everybody.
Well, I had a great time getting to chat with Heath and Kole and even picked up a few hints to help me in my own limited play. If you like the show, make sure to like, subscribe, and rate the show on your platform of choice. If you'd like to reach out to the show, you can find us on all the socials at Inkwell Lounge, or you can find a full list of links at inkwelllounge.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.